She disappeared. No explanation. No warning. No goodbye. Just silence. You checked your phone. Once. Twice. 10 times. You told yourself it must be the signal. She's busy. Maybe she fell asleep. Maybe something happened. Maybe she's with friends or her battery died. Maybe you said something wrong. Maybe you were too forward, too honest, too much. Maybe the silence became a scream in your head. Not loud but constant. Not painful but persistent. It hummed under your skin like static electricity that never discharged. And the more you resisted it, the louder it echoed. You started replaying every moment. Her smile when she looked at you. The way she leaned in, like your words mattered. How quickly she used a reply. The small things. The shared glances. The pause before she said she felt a connection. You held on to them like they were proof that you weren't imagining it. Then nothing. Not even a period. Just absence. And the worst part isn't the silence. It's the doubt it plants in your mind. It's how a man can go from feeling chosen, wanted, even loved, to feeling like he was never seen at all. That's what ghosting does. It doesn't just remove a person. It removes your clarity. It leaves you in fog, searching for a reason that may never come. And in that fog, a man either loses himself or finds a reason to come home to himself. You start to fold inward. You question every word you said. You start editing your memory, wondering which version of you was too much. You write a message, delete it, then rewrite it. You stare at her last words like they hold a code. You hope they weren't the last. You wonder if silence means maybe she still cares. You feel shame, then anger, then sadness, then more silence. And in that silence, you don't just miss her. You miss the version of yourself that felt seen. You forget how calm you used to feel, how silence used to be peace, not punishment. This is where many men fall apart. They mistake silence for an invitation, an open loop, a cliffhanger, something to resolve. They chase closure like it's a lost key to a locked door. They send one more message, one more explanation, one more chance to be understood. But silence is not a question. Silence is an answer, not polite, not kind, but clear. When someone ghosts you, they've made a choice, a loud one, spoken without words. And the only thing worse than being ghosted is begging for someone who already chose to disappear. You don't need to explain yourself to someone who won't give you the decency of a reply. You don't need to earn back the respect they discarded without a second thought. What you need is to stop shrinking. You need to remember who you were before you handed your worth to someone else's attention span. There's a stillness that begins when you stop refreshing the chat box, when you stop scripting conversations that will never happen, when you stop waiting for someone who already walked out without a word. This isn't about pride. It's not a game of who cares less. It's about principle. Because a man grounded in himself doesn't base his worth on someone else's presence. He doesn't abandon his dignity to get a few more moments in someone else's light. That's the man you're becoming. But becoming him starts with staying still, not frozen. Still, there's a difference. Stillness means you hold your center. You breathe. You feel the sting of rejection, but you don't let it pull you off course. You don't run. You don't beg. You don't flinch. You stay with yourself. She's gone. Now comes the real question. Who are you when no one's watching? That's the test. Not whether she returns, but whether you do return to your values, your path, your peace. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. She is an outside event. Your mind, yours to master." A Stoic man does not let unpredictable people dictate his emotional weather. He does not surrender his inner peace to someone else's absence. He builds a fire inside so steady, even the coldest silence cannot extinguish it. That fire is built through discipline, through reflection, through deciding that your sense of self is not up for negotiation, even when love is on the line, especially not then, because love that costs you your peace is too expensive. Love that demands you chase, prove, or bleed to be seen isn't love. It's a test, one you were never meant to pass. one you were meant to walk away from. And walking away doesn't make you weak. It makes you wise. Not every silence deserves a response. Not every ending deserves a sequel. Let her go. Let the silence be what it is. A closed door, not yours to knock on anymore. Then do what a Stoic man does. Hold space. For yourself. Because when the world goes quiet, that's when your true voice is meant to rise. You wake up, and she's still the first thing in your mind. Not her exactly, but the ghost of her, the weight she left behind, the echo of the story you never got to finish. You reach for your phone, then stop, not because you don't care, but because you care more now about your center. And your center isn't built on her reply. It's built on your response. Today, your response is silence, not wounded silence, not passive silence, but chosen silence, strong silence. You go for a walk. The air bites your skin. You breathe into the ache, into the space she left. You let it stay. You let it pass. You do not numb it. You survive it. And in that survival, something shifts. You stop asking why she left. You start asking what stayed. Your breath, your heart, your dignity. That's what stayed. Her silence? It's not a punishment. It's a permission slip to walk forward. To stop knocking, to start living. This isn't the kind of strength that shouts. It's the kind that doesn't need to. You stop drafting texts you'll never send. You stop auditioning for a role she already canceled. You remember your own voice. You rebuild your rituals. You move more, read more, reflect more, not to distract yourself, but to return to yourself. This isn't healing through forgetting. This is healing through remembering. Because a Stoic doesn't erase pain. He integrates it. He lets it sharpen his clarity. He doesn't say, she didn't care. He says, she chose, and now I choose. And his choice isn't bitterness or retaliation. It's transcendence. Not above her, above the need for her validation. That's Stoicism in real life. Not a quote, not detachment, not cold indifference, but presence, stillness, strength, because in the end, silence is not the enemy. It's the mirror, and what you see in that mirror becomes your character. You speak less, but with more weight. You don't flinch at red flags anymore. You observe. You act. You walk. You set boundaries that don't scream, please love me. They whisper, I am whole. You no longer fear being alone. You see solitude not as rejection, but as refuge, where the voices of others no longer drown your own. You feel the strength in stillness, the clarity in quiet, the power in being unshaken. Because when she left, it felt like the ground collapsed. But you forget, you are the one who builds a ground you stand on. She may have touched something in you, but she didn't create it. That strength, that presence, that light, it was always yours. You just needed the silence to hear it again. This isn't about her. It never was. It's about what rises in you when everything else falls away. It's about what remains when there's nothing left to chase. And that's where your real work begins. That's where your true power is reborn. Ghosting didn't destroy you. It revealed you. It showed you where you were still reaching, still needing, still giving away your self-worth for a few crumbs of attention. And it gave you a gift, a brutal, beautiful gift, a mirror that asked, will you build your worth from scratch, without applause, without rescue, without her? The Stoic man says yes, not because he doesn't feel, but because he feels deeply and still chooses clarity, because he knows. The only love that truly liberates starts from within. Let the silence be the beginning, not of a story with her, but a story with yourself. Let it be the breath before the rebuild, the pause before the rise. Let it be the sacred quiet where the boy in you finally steps aside and the man emerges, not the man she wanted, not the man she left, but the man who needs no witness to validate his worth, the man who stood in fire and didn't burn. He transformed. And from that transformation came a truth deeper than the pain. You were never broken, just buried, and now you rise, alone, strong, unshaken. That's what a Stoic man does. That's how a Stoic man loves. Silently, fully, without losing himself. Now tell me, when the silence came, what did you hear in yourself?